Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're setting out, on a bit of a quest, uncovering hidden stories and objects we might see every day.
Or maybe not everyday objects in this case.
Oh, true. Thinking more about those remarkable creations that blend incredible precision engineering with really profound cultural artistry.
Exactly. That intersection is fascinating.
And today we're diving deep into exactly that space. We're exploring the vibrant return of a truly legendary name in watchmaking.
A name many enthusiasts will know well.
Indeed. Our focus for this deep dive is on the latest high-end King Seiko watches, specifically the SJE103, SJE105, and the SJE107 models.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't just about telling time, are they? They feel more like canvases, tradition, innovation, inviting you to look closer.
That's a great way to put it. And our mission today really is to unpack how these new models manage to leverage that rich King Seiko heritage while, pushing boundaries at the same time.
And we'll be focusing particularly on those dials, right? The stunning, culturally inspired, textured dials.
Absolutely. To understand what makes them such a captivating blend of tradition and modern elegance, and really why that focus on the dial is so significant right now.
Okay. So to really get these new models, we probably need to step back first, lay the foundation. What's the story of King Seiko? Why does that name still carry so much weight?
Well, King Seiko, back in its heyday, represented the absolute pinnacle of Daini Seikoshi's capabilities.
That was one of Seiko's two main manufacturing divisions, correct? Kind of rivals.
Exactly. Daini specialized in precision, and they actually challenged Grand Seiko with their own vision of, let's say, horological excellence.
Mm-hmm.
The name King Seiko, it wasn't just a name. It symbolized this fierce internal rivalry.
And that rivalry pushed both sides to achieve more.
Definitely. It spurred groundbreaking achievements for both King Seiko and Grand Seiko.
Interesting. But then the name sort of faded for a while, went quiet.
It did for a long time.
So when it came back in 2020, how did that resurgence happen, and how did it sort of set the stage for these pieces we're discussing now?
Right. It made a pretty significant comeback. Initially, we saw some very high-end limited recreations, really faithful reproductions of iconic vintage King Seiko designs.
Okay, the purest approach first.
Yeah. And then came more accessible, modernized models, capturing the spirit maybe, but without quite the same mechanical intricacies or price point.
Right.
But what's interesting here for these new watches, the SJE103, 105, 107, is how they build directly on their immediate predecessors.
Ah, the SJE089 and SJE091 from last year. May 2023.
Exactly those. They were non-limited, also high-end, but maybe slightly more contemporary in feel compared to those initial, very strict re-editions. A bit slimmer, too.
So they kind of laid the groundwork for this next step.
Precisely. They established a modern high-end King Seiko platform, you could say.
Okay, so if the technical base, the case, the movement perhaps, carries over from those earlier SJE models, what really defines these new ones? The 103, 105, and 107, what's the big story?
That's the key question. While that technical base is consistent with the 089 and 091, these three new references, well, they are truly all about their dials.
All about the dials.
It's more than just adding a nice texture. It feels like a strategic shift, maybe, in this part of the market, moving beyond just the mechanics.
Towards artistry, narrative.
Exactly. Emphasizing narrative, artistry, that emotional connection. The dial becomes the main canvas for the storytelling. We saw a hint of this with the SPB 365 model.
The one with the textured dial, too.
Yes. That really brought texture and color into the higher-end King Seiko collection. And these new models just amplify that approach significantly.
Fascinating. The dial as the storyteller. And quite a story, it seems, drawing from Japanese culture, specifically traditional patterns from the Edo period.
That's right. A period known for being incredibly prolific for art in Japan.
So how does that translate onto a watch dial? Can you tell us more about how each one embodies a unique pattern and the gradient colors too?
Absolutely. And it's worth noting, translating these complex Edo period patterns onto such a small surface. It's technically challenging.
I can imagine it's not just printing it on.
Not at all. It's about how the texture interacts with light, how it evokes the spirit of the original art. That often requires microscopic precision, something frankly, few brands can really achieve effectively.
Okay, so let's look at the specific, the SJE103.
Right, the SJE103 has this deep red dial. Its design is directly inspired by the vibrant energy of blooming plum blossoms, ume. It tries to capture that sort of ephemeral beauty.
Evocative. And then the SJE107, described as maybe the most feminine or original.
Yes, that one features a soft, light purple gradient. The pattern is based on wisteria flowers, Fuji, specifically expressing the famous wisteria of Kamaido.
Ah, Kamado. That connects to King Seiko's origins, doesn't it?
It does. And you can almost, like you said, imagine standing under those blooming vines, the light filtering through. Yeah, it's quite poetic.
And the third one, the SJE105.
That was dark blue. And it features a turtle shell pattern, Kikumon. This is another, perhaps more direct symbol linking back to King Seiko's roots in Kamaido, which literally means turtle field.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the dark blue color itself is inspired by the Sumida River, which flows through that region. So you see, these aren't just random pretty patterns.
No, they're deeply meaningful choices. Each dial is a little narrative.
Precisely.
Okay, stepping back from the inspiration, let's zoom in on the execution, the craftsmanship. What details on these dials really stand out?
Well, the meticulousness is really impressive, as you expect. You have applied markers, right? Brushed on the top surface, polished on the sides.
So they catch the light differently.
Exactly. Creates a beautiful play of light as your wrist moves. And then there's that classic King Seiko 12 o'clock marker. It has that distinctive knurled, textured pattern, a subtle but powerful nod to its heritage.
Great, you know it's a King Seiko from that marker.
You do. The hands, too. Beautifully done. Brush tops, perfectly sharp beveled edges. It's not just about looking good. It's about the precision and, well, the sheer artistry in every tiny element.
Okay, beyond the dials, which are clearly the star, the case itself, the architecture, how it sits on the wrist, that tells a story too. What about the case design and its proportions?
So these models share the same case as the SJE089 and SJE10901. Which is smart, you know, leverages that development.
It makes sense.
And it means they keep those signature King Seiko features. The sharply faceted lugs, the flat case flanks.
Yeah.
Very true to the original KSK models from the 60s.
But updated for today.
Yes, with proportions that are decidedly contemporary. Very wearable.
And the dimensions reflect that. 38.6 millimeter diameter, a really nice, slim 10.7 millimeter thickness.
That's quite thin for an automatic.
It is. And 45.8 millimeter lug to lug, 19 millimeter lug width. It sounds like it hits a sweet spot for a dressier watch, contributing to comfort.
Absolutely. It accentuates that dressy feel, but remains comfortable. And the finishing, well, it's what you'd expect from Seiko, especially Grand Seiko and King Seiko, in this price range. Exceptionally clean.
You mean the Zaratsu polishing?
Exactly. That unique distortion-free polishing technique creates these incredible, sharp, mirror-like reflections on the case surfaces, alternating beautifully with brushed sections.
It gives it that dynamic look.
It does. Sharp angles all around. It really complements the detailed dials. You know, this meticulous finishing, it's almost its own hidden story. It transforms the watch from just an object into this dynamic play of light. It reflects the dedication behind it.
And water resistance.
50 meters, which is, you know, perfectly sufficient for an elegant-ish watch like this.
Right.
You're not taking it diving.
Fair enough. Okay, shifting to how it wears. The bracelet looks quite appealing, a bit vintage.
It does have that vintage charm, doesn't it? It's composed of 7 links across. The flat surfaces are brushed, but the connecting links are deeply faceted, polished.
Creates some depth.
Yeah, a nice depth effect as it catches the light. It complements the case finishing. And it's secured with a reliable triple folding clasp. It's designed to be comfortable, visually interesting, but without, you know, stealing the show from the watch head itself.
Right, keeping the focus on the dial and case.
Exactly.
And what's ticking away inside, hidden beneath that closed case back?
Underneath, you've got the Calibre 6L35. This is Seiko's slimline automatic movement for their higher-end pieces outside of Grand Seiko.
Slimline is key for that 10.7 millimeter thickness.
Absolutely. It beats at 4 hertz, which is 28,800 vibrations per hour, gives you a nice smooth sweep of the seconds hand, and it boasts a respectable 45-hour power reserve.
Solid specs.
Yep. And while you can't see it, the solid case back features a nicely embossed King Seiko emblem. Preserves that classic, elegant tool watch turned elegant aesthetic.
Okay, so for listeners intrigued by these, availability and price.
They're set to be available from October 1st, 2024. And the price point for all three, the SJE103, SJE105, and SJE107, is EUR 3400.
Right, so kind of positioned in that upper mid-tier luxury space.
Precisely. Competing strongly on finish, and especially now, on that dial artistry.
So let's try and wrap this up. Tying it all together, what's the main takeaway here?
Well, I think these new King Seiko models really offer this unique blend. You've got the strong heritage that meticulous engineering and finishing Seiko is known for, and now this deeply embedded Japanese artistry through the dials.
I feel like more than just timepieces.
Definitely. They embody a deeper narrative, wearable expressions of culture almost.
So, final thought for you, the listener. Consider how these watches, with their intricate patterns, their cultural stories, they really transform a functional object, don't they, into a wearable piece of art.
Hmm.
One that invites you to carry a piece of history, a piece of tradition right there on your wrist.
Hmm.
And it makes you wonder, perhaps, what other everyday objects around us, if we just looked a bit closer, might hold similar profound depths, hidden stories just waiting to be discovered.
That's a great thought to end on. Looking